Hello everyone, this is Ugo Cei and this is my photography podcast. This podcast episode is a bit special and a very short one. I'm just going to do an announcement here, starting with January 2019 and specifically on January 2nd, 2019. This podcast will cease to be, or rather it will morph into something different. What it is going to become, let me explain to you. I'm going to partner with my good friend Fabrizio Costa, with whom I recently did what we call the Closing the Gap Masterclass, and we're going to launch a new podcast, the Closing the Gap Podcast. So this podcast here will morph into the Closing the Gap Podcast, which will be an entirely new show, even though it will deal with pretty much the same topics I've been talking about in this podcast. The difference is that it will be the two of us. It will be published with, at least that's the plan. It will have a weekly frequency. It will be published every Wednesday. It will also have a new home, and the new home it will be at closingthegap.live. That's the new website, closingthegap.live. If you are subscribed to this podcast on Apple Podcasts or any of the other platforms, you don't have anything to do. You will start receiving the episodes of the new podcast without having to reconfigure or open a new subscription or anything like that. So it's totally seamless experience for you. I hope you will appreciate this change. It's going to be, I think it's going to be much more interesting and engaging and lively, because it's going to be the two of us going to have this ongoing conversation, and it's going to be published with a regular frequency, so you will not have to wonder when is the next episode coming up. So that's really all for now, and thanks for following me this far. Just remember to check out the new website at closingthegap.live. Thank you very much.